affordable house something to look to, and whereas I mean, you know your business, I would personally think it would be nice to have those houses dispersed in different areas rather than all together. Because as a little kid, I'm going to go, oh, that's where the affordable houses are, and we live in a good house. I mean, you're going to hear that. So maybe the Caroline Pines is a great idea, maybe different lots in Ladysmith Village. But it's your plan. You guys know what you're doing, so.
Well, maybe affordable housing isn't the right term. Workforce housing may be a better term. We're aiming for prices that a police officer or a fireman or a school teacher can afford. That's what we're aiming at.
How much house can I get on a $30,000 salary?
Excuse me?
How much house can I get on a $30,000 salary?
About $165,000.
So that's kind of like starting school teacher, sheriff's deputy house. I'm a little short.
Your average school teacher in Caroline County makes $44,000.
The average, you said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the starters are a lot less. Okay, okay.
Okay, have y'all approached Spotsylvania and Stafford already?
We looked at Spotsylvania and Stafford, and there are no sites that would fit our needs, basically.
Okay, but as far as profit reductions, have you had that occur in any other locality?
No, we haven't asked.
Okay.
This is just for this one-time show that for the Affordable Housing Awareness Week, we wanted to put one on. You know, this was our choice because that development is there, the lots are there, they're cleared. You know, some of the prices for the lots that the builders are going to pay goes towards the advertising for the show to draw people in. So that comes back to the Affordable Housing Awareness Week for we're planning on putting over $20,000 in advertising to draw the customers into Caroline County. That's part of the fee that they're paying.
I think Caroline Pines is probably going to be something you really need to look at. You don't have to deal with profits as far as the county is concerned. Sure, with the homeowner association, but it's a nice development. I've been through that recently, and it's some nice homes in there, and it's a nice development. That may be something you want to look at.
Well,
and we just approved to put good water into Lake Caroline Pines, so they'll have good drinking water.
Basically, we're in a crunch for time right now, and we just don't have the time to. If we want to get a house built by April, we don't have a lot of time.
Gotcha.
All right.
Any other questions?
Well, certainly, Mr. Parker, if anything else develops, we'll keep in touch with you. But I don't see any movement to hit us in that direction this evening. I don't believe. And we certainly.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank y'all for coming out. Yep. Item 8. The continued discussion of the GIS system, Mr. Fincham, is that yours?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we are approaching the point where we feel comfortable going public with the GIS program that has been developed to date. You have in your packets, and I actually handed a handout during the break with some revisions from Ms. Cosby related to the GIS data policy. We feel that it's important that we actually have a policy on data sharing, what data will be available publicly, who has the authority to determine what data is available publicly, either through purchase or through online resources. And this policy was developed after reviewing a number of other data policies that were available either through contact or our online resources. We have had developed for us or purchased from other sources and incorporated into our GIS about 35 data layers total. We have surveyed a number of localities to look at what data is not available to the general public. And the one data layer that rises to the surface constantly is that of utilities. And obviously there's a security issue there, and that information has specifically been exempted from public purview. Some localities exempted altogether. Some localities refer prospective users, purchasers to the utilities department to determine what data should be made available. What we are recommending in this policy is that any data layer developed under the auspices of the county administrator, it would ultimately be that person's responsibility to determine what data, whether that data layer should be available to the public or not, either through purchase or by making that information available online as part of our GIS. Data layers that were developed by other departments or agencies that may be developed from time to time, such as the Sheriff's Department may have to develop a data layer specific to public safety. It would be that agency head's responsibility to determine whether that data layer was available publicly and to whom internally that data layer would be made available to. Now, all this obviously is subject to the rules and regulation and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia and federal government. So when that determination is made, they would have to consult with the county attorney's office to make sure that that information could legally be exempted under FOIA. This policy is really, in many respects, a boilerplate policy. Most of this language is included in all of the other data policies that we have reviewed and has been reviewed, like I said, by Ms. Cosby. She made a couple of minor changes to it, but generally speaking, we feel comfortable with this policy and wanted to introduce it to the board for your review. And ultimately, you have to adopt the policy, I think, before we will go public with our GIS.
Okay, Mr. Pension, I think board members, you have your policy in front of you. Questions on Mr. Pension for this policy? Right, I know it's.
Yes, I saw that on the paper. Yes.
It's all recent information for us.
Yes, sir.
And but again, any specific questions at this time? Let me ask you this: who would use and who would purchase? Give me some examples of who would use and who would purchase our county citizens' GIS data.
If somebody was looking at, say, a certain geographic area of the county, okay, an engineering firm might want to purchase some different data layers as part of some analysis that they were doing related to a specific project. Now, certainly online, those layers will be available to look at. You could identify parcel boundaries, streams, wetlands, et cetera, et cetera. But certain data layers, the shape files, for example, that are developed will not be available online and would have to be purchased separately from the county to support more detailed analysis of, say, a project. This agreement, so there would be situations where, say, a developer might want to purchase a data set. If we had contour intervals at 2 feet or something like that, down to that level of accuracy, an engineering firm might want to purchase some of that data specific to that area. This also speaks to an agreement that the county attorney's office is developing, that each data purchaser or user would have to sign that agreement. It would basically identify what specifically the project was being used for. It would hold the county harmless and any of our vendors harmless. So there would be a specific data agreement which outlines what the data what data is being acquired and specifically what that data could be used for.
Okay. Other questions of Mr. Benjamin? Ms. Eden?
I got one. Could any user that could somebody who doesn't purchase this develop or go in with software and do data extraction on ArcGIS files?
Not on our online system, but if they actually purchase data files, the shape files, for example, then depending on what's purchased, they could do not necessarily extraction, but more detailed analysis based upon that data.
But you don't think they can do that with the online system?
No.
Okay.
Are you looking for the answer this evening? What's your timeline?
Understanding that this is the first time you've really read the policy, you know, we're really introducing it. We're ready to go forward when you are, so you need to have that comfort level. You need to look at the agreement. You know, we can come back at the next board meeting if you've had an opportunity to look at it. You know, we have checked with other localities, and we're pretty consistent with what the other localities are doing. Some localities actually don't yet have a data sharing agreement where they have to actually sign an agreement with the locality. So,
Okay. Do you have a county that is similar to what we're talking about doing, so we can maybe look at what they're doing, or can you sit down with us and show us exactly what you want to do?
we can go through layer by layer and show you what other neighboring jurisdictions have available and what they're doing.
I just want to be careful.
Understand?
You know, this is our citizens' information. It belongs to the people. And I just don't want to put too much out there that will get us in trouble. That's all I'm
I understand. We've had a lot of those internal discussions.
Okay. But we have it. And we need to
That's correct.
make sure we talk about these things. Okay?
Okay?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin. All right, item 10, Mr. Parton.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the county has identified an opportunity to pursue some low-interest loan and possibly grants for the YMCA project through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, more specifically rural development. The program that I'm talking about is the Rural Housing Service Community Facilities Loans and Grants Program. And staff has confirmed with the Harrisonburg office of RD that both Caroline County and the YMCA are eligible for the program. Grant assistance, we don't know at this point how much, if any, grant opportunities the county may have, but the program can cover up to 75% of the cost if you're eligible. And that's based on census data and median household income. And I spoke with a representative from RD, and he said that in the event that 2000 census data is used for the entire county, the interest rate for the loan would be about 3.75%. However, they don't expect the funding picture to become, excuse me, clear until October, so the 2010 census data may come into play, and that could affect the interest rate. So what we're looking for at this point is authorization from the board to go ahead and apply for the program. We've already begun some initial work on that. It involves submitting some data and then following up with any additional information that they request. But we would like the board's authorization to go ahead and apply for this program and see what may develop. Another component that they feature is to guarantee loans up to 90% of the value to an outside lending institution, which of course could help with the interest rate in the event that that route is pursued. But tonight we're just seeking authorization to go ahead and apply, working with the YMCA. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to answer any questions.
Question from Mr. Park? Okay. All right.
Chairman, I'd make a motion that we authorize staff to submit the application to the United States Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Community Facilities and Grants Program for the YMCA project to see where we go with it.
Second.
Question?
Where do we stand with the developer now in terms of his?
We are hoping that they will get back with me or get back with us sometime at the end of this month or the first of next month.
So we haven't done it, and there's no cost to us in doing this.
Right.
That's correct.
Apply, and then if they say here's X number of dollars, we can say thanks, but no thanks.
That's correct.
It's all loan, not grant.
It could be a combination of the two.
And we won't know until you apply.
Right.
Okay, we do have a motion and it was seconded.
That was just my question.
All right.
Can we ask for grant only, or does it have to be grant and loan?
I don't think we know at this point until we submit the application and they look at the census data, the median household income. At this point, it's all very preliminary. I mean, you don't have to accept anything they offer. At this point, you can't advance forward until you submit the application.
Because if it's a grant, I'm in favor of going forward with a grant, but if it's to borrow more money, I'm not sure I'm looking to move forward. I guess that's the dilemma.
Just have to vote no, Mr. Seeley, as you
Huh?
have all night.
That's all.
I mean, the only choice you have is voting yes or no. And the point I would make is the fact that why restrict if we can have some type of fundraising event or some type of fundraising program and other funds to help subsidize this program, why would we want to tie our hands as to what may be available to us? And so I would ask that we move ahead to apply under the conditions that Mr. Pardon has mentioned tonight, which is grant and low interest. I'm not sure whether you have to even indicate in the application as to what you're applying for. You're just applying for.
The first step, anyways, is identifying the project and,
Yeah.
and costs that are associated with it and so forth.
Do we even know what the cost is?
I would defer to someone else on that. I'm not, I want to say $6 million in that order of magnitude for the Y project. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
And I would imagine, it depends on where it's going to be, whether it's the land that's already been proffered or not. And all that makes, extenuating
All that comes into play. If you got to buy the land, then yeah, it increases the project.
Well, you were talking about a developer that was going to potentially pay for it. I thought you had some idea what the cost was going to be.
Yeah, $6 million has been the number that's been put out. That includes the improvements to the road, that includes the water, that includes the building, that includes the grading, that includes a complete facility. Yes. The building itself, estimating about $4 to $4.3 million.
Do we know if the Y is even willing to come?
Yeah. They've never given me any indication that they were not willing to come. And we've been talking, Mr. Roselle's been on discussions, and they've never indicated they're not willing to come. I don't think we'd be spinning our wheels, Mr. Seeley, if we didn't have indication as to what they were willing to do.
The director and chairman of the board is interested in Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, what else can we say? You know, they're very interested in coming to Carolina next.
And if this were to happen, it doesn't necessarily mean, or it does mean we could look at anywhere for the YMCA within the county.
Sure.
Yeah. It doesn't tie you to any location.
No,
Doesn't matter. Okay.
no location.
Okay, motion made and properly second. Board members ready to proceed to vote? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say
Nay.
all right. Motion carries.
Free money. Turn it.
It's not
Next-
free money. Somebody's
next
got to
item.
pay it back. I mean, and just look at the way you smile at paying money back. It's like it's a joke. $46 million in utility debt, and you're still
All right,
smiling.
item number 11, point of order here. Item number 11, Mr. Ashcraft?
Mr. Chairman, my report is before you, but there's something I'd like to raise as a point of discussion this evening as a result of the actions that you took regarding the borrowing for the Caroline Pines project.
Be my guest.
The deadline for the ordinance that allowed homeowners and I guess business owners as well to hook up to the project in the county expires on Thursday. And what staff would like to propose is to, A, bring back on first reading a revision of that ordinance on November the 16th, which would extend the period of hookups throughout the entire county, not just Caroline Pines, but they certainly would be included for a 12-month period. And secondly, if you approve that, then I would ask that you also give us permission to advertise for a public hearing on November the 23rd, because we have meetings back to back in November.
Wait, our November meetings are the 11th,
16 and 23.
or we move?
Yep, back to back.
Unless you choose to change it. 30th is an option for you if you want to do that.
Well, I think we're going to have to do something in order to protect the people and along the Ruther Glen Road and Caroline Pines as well. If it expires on Thursday, we've always talked about $2,800 is what we were going to charge them. So, I mean, we've got to do that. And I think to be fair to all the citizens in the county, they all should realize the same benefit.
Can't
Right.
Mr. Emerson, we can create an emergency ordinance now that would be valid for 30 days. That's what we've done in the past.
Well, they won't be ready for a while. I mean, it's going to.
Wouldn't couch that answer.
We discussed that this afternoon, and we couldn't find anywhere where the emergency provision would kick in.
I mean, but emergency ordinance would take effect immediately. We would theoretically have 30 days to adopt another ordinance, but we actually don't meet until 35 days after, or something like that.
Yeah, the emergency ordinance would be effective for 60 days. But you do have to find that there's an emergency.
defines emergency?
You do, that's all I'm saying. You have to have some rational basis that it's an emergency to continue that ordinance, that exemption, without a gap.
Okay.
Just repeat, Mr. Ashcraft, what you.
I would ask the board to consider bringing back on first reading a revised ordinance on November the 16th. And at the same time this evening, authorize staff to advertise for a public hearing on November the 23rd in the, with the possibility that you will approve the first reading on the 16th. And if you don't approve the first reading, then we won't go forward with the public hearing.
Okay. You need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion that we take staff's recommendation on those two items and move forward for their recommendation.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion made and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, closed meeting this evening, Mr. Vice Chair. 4 more times.
Okay. I'd move that this board convene in closed meeting pursuant to the personnel exemption of section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia to discuss personnel matters related to the position of Director of Utilities and the establishment of a centralized accounting and purchasing department for the county and school system, and the consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff exempt from section 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia regarding specific legal matters requiring legal advice regarding the establishment of a service district to provide utilities to a portion of the county. That is my motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion made and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. We're now going to close meeting. Matter of closed meeting, and doors are open. There you go. And we'll now come out of closed meeting. Just want to have a motion that we come out of closed meeting. So moved.
Second.
Motion made, proper second. We come out of closed meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Board members want to certify that we only discuss issues that we went into closed meeting for. Mr. Pappas, do you certify?
I certify with the caveat that I was not present during the personnel discussions.
Okay. Mr. Akers? I so certify. Mr. Seeley?
I so certify.
Mr. Thomas?
I so certify.
And I so certify as well. All right, any action items for us, Mr. Ashcraft? All right, motion to adjourn in order?
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved, proper second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same.